And we are live, guys. Hang on. Let me just quickly share this to my own channel so that I can start to to my own channel so that I can. So, guys, welcome to the to my talk. So today, yeah, you are not correct. It's me and me and me. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. If you are watching somewhere in this world, leave a comment below so that I know where you are, and we can certainly start chatting from there. Today, I am going to share with you the AD1200Pro. I've been using that for last half a year. I think more than last half a year. I never thought I would enjoy a light so much. Um, I read. I never thought I would enjoy a light so much. That so I'm going to share with you what I think of it, how it compares with other lights in terms of obviously power and flash duration, high speed sync, what sort of unique look would this lights hi Blanca would help you to achieve. And also hi Jove, how are you? What sort of unique look would this light actually help you to achieve, and what sort of alternative solution in a sense would other lights help you to achieve? So I have quite a few lecture slides. I will just walk you guys through them. Ask any question anytime you want, and I will try to address them at the end of each slide. Leave your comments below, and yeah, let me know, and let's chat, shall we? Yeah, any question you have. Yeah, not limited to AD1200Pro, rather than to any lights you have. So to start with, let's talk about let's talk about why. Yeah, why would you want an AD1200Pro? So basically, if you guys are Nikon or Canon user, or have like you did use hot shoe flash like anyone of me, which means it's like a Nikon SB900, Canon EX600, which I have been used before. That's about 60 watts. Okay, and if you didn't use any of those lights, you use Godox 860. I think that's between 60 to 70 watts ish. I never use 860 myself, so that I'm not too sure. Hey guys. Oh, cool. We have someone of the world: Canada, Scotland, and Melbourne. Good morning, morning, mate. You're a morning person. So leave your if you can tell me what time it's there now, that'd be wonderful. So basically, it's equivalent to it's 1200 watts, so it's equivalent to about 20 times of EX600 Pro. Oh, sorry, EX600 Canon. What that means is that you can have lots of flexibility to when you are using it. A typical example, one of the example would be you can use a big softbox or big umbrella on the midday, right? And that can be done. And then while you're using big softbox, you can use high speed sync to, in this case, freeze the water. And it also will support you with short flash duration. What short flash duration means, not only HS help you to freeze, you also want short flash duration to help you to freeze the motion as well. Now, in this particular case, we are trying to freeze her water. Yeah. Why would I want to use an umbrella? That is because number one, we can block her under sun, right? And number two, that soft light is coming from the same direction as sun, but softer, right? And a bigger light source. It's so her skin looks glowing. If you compare, the image without flash and with flash, you see her skin looks glowing because it's large light source that actually emphasizes on her abs and ribs as well. So it actually emphasizes on her bone structure, right? So it's also on the recently my test is it's going to the natural side because now it's summer, it's kind of hot. I want something really cool rather than too dramatic. I lots of my images go for the natural side, but I will show you guys some dramatic images later. So it becomes her skin looks as this sort of nice fall off. If you look at her muscles, if you look at her chin and her cheek, you also notice all the nice lights fall off. It's because of the large light source, right? Because large light source, lights fall off. It's beautiful contrast. It's almost like a perfect sun from certain direction, right? This was inspired. By one of my favorite photographer, which is Annie Leibovitz. She always shoot for the natural look, and but lots of time what she does is she use sunscreen to block out the sun and use flash as a fill, which I couldn't do because I don't have that many people as a commercial production. I usually have one or two assistants if I'm going for a photo walk. And to be honest, it's on the cliff. It's not particularly safe to carry carry sunscreen, sunbonzer or sunscreen, which would potentially blocking the pedestrian as well. So that's basically how I get the shots. All right, let me have a look at the questions and I will continue from there. So Toronto, great. What time is that there, mate? How many flash Godox do you use for wedding photography? Good day, Gobo. So basically, if you check last talk I had with Kilu, we are very similar. So our go-to gun, is you definitely need a V1 because it's on-camera flash. Indoor, if you bounce off, that'd be quite convenient. During the location time, if you're under time strength, I would advise you to use natural lights. But if you do have time for the wall shots, take out your AD1200Pro. Or if you are a softbox guy, use your AD1300Pro. So you can have a choice. Do you want to, if you want to some sort of quick setup, no softbox, no big modifiers, AD1200Pro. If you want to go a bit high-speed sync or you want a softbox to come with the lights, then AD300Pro. Yeah. But it's your own formula. It's like everybody enjoys their coffee in different way. And to be honest, from day to day, I change my taste. Today is black coffee, but tomorrow I might go for a latte. Another advice on the side I would like to give it to you is indoor shots. Just try to use some LED lights like LC500. Check the last talk I had with Kilu yesterday. That actually would be very helpful, mate. That would be very helpful. Let me just check out other. Hey, morning, friends. Hope everything's good there. Did you have a croissant? Or croissant? Oh, good evening. It seems you're reading my mind. I am preparing a video speech on the go, just using my Godox V1 and the set of video file that there you are. Please to listen. Awesome. Glad it helps. Let me know if you have any other questions. Hello, South Africa. Oh my. I love South Africa at Botswana. Been there a couple of years ago and yeah. Morning, Christian. It's good to see you back again. Christian, do you see yourself sometimes? Let me change the slide so people wouldn't get bored, and let's continue from there, shall we? So this is another light, similar setup. I will start to address the rest of the question, question in a few minutes, so people wouldn't get bored. So this is another Another photo we did. You guys can see that it's somewhere at Tabanda Beach, which is really cool. The scene was unbeatable. Speak of which, I'm going to do paddling later of the day. It's summer, it's beautiful. I'm just going to enjoy it. Guys, there's another typical example. This is Godox, I think, a 165 umbrella. So it's kind of on the pro side. The wind, it's actually quite windy. That's why I asked my mates team. He's a really good guy. He's very famous. He's with his boudoir shots around the beach and Australian cliff areas to do the shoots. You can see that this is a big umbrella, but which delivers soft lights, as you guys can see, and also it's powerful enough because it's midday. You can see where the shadow is. You can see it's obviously midday, and the sun was quite harsh, and her face is under shadow. So I decided to use umbrella to sort of to bring in, some field lights so that her skin looks nice, and also her bone structure. I typically shoot from lower angles with my Sony 85 GM lens because you want to emphasize on her what's a nicer way of saying butt butt areas. So she has this bodybuilding or bikini look. Yeah. And that's it. Let me just quickly read through your questions and let you guys know. Also, do you use assistant with AD1200Pro or not? I think, Christian, this answers your question. I will never go along with my AD1200Pro. Number one, it's a bit too not saying it's too heavy. It's not that heavy. It's 8.9 kilos, right? It's 8.9 kilos, but usually with AD1200Pro, you want a big modifiers, and with outdoor, it's always because I'm living in Sydney, Australian coast, it's always be windy. From time to time, it's normal to get about 30, 35, even 40 kilometers of sort of wind speeds. So I wouldn't leave my AD1200Pro by itself with a big modifiers, and it's on the expensive side, as you know. It's going to be expensive to repair it as well. So no, it is it's not too big to carry around. Do you have a think tank sort of airport that's sort of similar size, back size with AD1200Pro? If you have an assistant, then sure, carry that around. Will be easy. But if you have no assistant, then I wouldn't advise this light. I would say just go for AD300 or AD200, which is lighter and easier to carry around. So no assistant, don't go for AD1200Pro. But if you do have an assistant, this light is actually fantastic. And if you guys look at the light bulb in the BTS, you will notice that the light itself, the light bulb itself, it's actually very light. All the weight is on the battery, so the light bulb itself it's almost the same weight as AD300Pro, and it's very similar size. So I would say that I do not want to leave AD1200Pro there. The main reason is I always use large modifiers, and with the wind, that's your primary concern. It's not about the weight. Alex, hi, mate. How are you? Hello, Romano. Oh my. What time is it? Low budget Godox drop you recommend, mate? What sort of are you shooting? Are you shooting? Are you shooting portrait? Are you shooting in studio? Are you shooting outdoors? Are you shooting videos? Let me know. Let me know the details. I'll address it. Good morning, America. Hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you for watching on Friday night. So for product photography, I will say that are you going to do outdoor? If you're going to do outdoor, AD300Pro will be perfect. And depends on the size of your product. Obviously, if it's lipstick or if you only use one light, or if you're doing food, then V1 would be enough, right? Hello. Hello, Italy. How are you? All right, let me swap to the next slide so I can further address your question later of the day. So what happens is that you notice that in the first image that I have a diffuser. In the second one, I take off the diffuser. It's not because the light effects. It's not that complicated. It's just because it's too windy. I was so afraid the light is gonna to sort of blow the diffuser away. So out of safety, I took off the diffuser. It's similar reason here. I could use a umbrella here. Number one, I think it's not safe. You know that she's standing, and I purposely make the lights a bit higher to look like the sun is shining on her rather than a flash. So you have a flash, but it looks like there's no flash there, which is what makes it look on the natural side. However, number one, if you put a large umbrella that high, it's not that safe because it's very windy on the day. You can see her hair, right? You can see in the BTS, hair is like blowing everywhere. So you can sort of imagine the wind was between 35 to 40-ish sort of speed. Then umbrella would not be safe. Number two is that bare bulb works, right? Because if you shoot someone with my age, then if especially close up, I would want a softbox because it gets rid of the damages. But if you are shooting someone with in her 20s and with those beautiful body, she spent so much time on. She's one of my biggest inspiration, Maria. She actually inspires me to go to gym and do lots of bodybuilding work. Gym work, not bodybuilding so much. And so that bare bulb would work. The difference between bare bulb and softbox is it's that because it's obvious harsh lights, right? Another thing between between bare bulb and standard reflector is reflector is directional, right? Bare bulb is go around like 180 degrees, so it's going everywhere. What makes it so is that it's so natural, right? You wouldn't have obvious highlights and shadow transitions like edges, like standard reflector. But standard reflector does increase your power output because all the light is going to one direction and bare bulb is just going everywhere. So with bare bulb, you pretty much need to you need to sort of have bigger power to waste your power a bit. That's why AD1200Pro with bare bulb actually helps a lot. So let me try to address some of the questions and continue from there. Austin, would AD300 Pro or AD600 need on the beach? Obviously, I think for the beach shot, especially on the midday, AD300 Pro is the minimum. If you go to the Godox YouTube websites, you will see there is a comparison of the beach shots between V1, AD200 Pro, and AD400 Pro. To be honest, on the beach shots, I will never use anything below AD300 Pro. And AD1200 Pro does give you lots of convenience, especially if we are talking about the kind of beach on the midday in the summer in Florida, which is hello, Kemi, I miss you. In Florida or Bondi Beach, right? So it's with a strong sun, strong harsh shadows, you want a strong lights, powerful lights to fit up. Again, it depends. If you are based in London with lots of cloudy day, I would say AD300, even AD200 Pro will be enough. But if you are come back in a date like this, I would say start from AD300 Pro and tell AD600 Pro and AD1200 Pro does give you lots of convenience in that sense. Yep. So you want a budget light for portrait and studio? I would say go for if portrait is outdoor, go for 8300 Pro. If you're only doing studio shots, then just go for Godox, one of the Godox, I think a QT series. That's a studio shot, studio lights. It's a bit cheaper than 80 series because it's AC power, it's not battery power, and yeah, so it's cheaper and it can do high speed sync up to 1 out of 8,000 seconds, so which is really cool. Hello, Michael. It's hello Europe. Hey guys. What about portraits? If you want a budget lights for portraits, different. Like, are you doing indoors and or outdoor? Comments below and let me know what's your location. Depends on the weather. Are you experience high contrast in what date? Right? It depends. It depends on your. If you can be more specific, then I can be more. I can be more helpful. Right? Yep. Scroll up, please. The comments on the showing on the top of photos. Yep. I will try to hide the comments. Yep. Jeffrey was like, "Why don't you shoot in the afternoon? You still get great light won't come down you after top highlights." So, I would love to. I do love to shoot highlights. I think this is a great question. Here's the thing. Sometimes you have to work around your model's time. Number one, to start with, because it's not only about shooting for the lights. It's also about shooting for her workout routine, right? She wants that to be her promotional photo, and she wants that to be exact date. And I do have lots of afternoon shots coming up. Stay tuned. But if I think this is a great scenario, if you do have shooting the noon time, which lots of wedding photographers, for example, don't have choice with portrait. Of course, we have lots of wiggle zone, but they can consider, oh, okay, it's midday, we can still have a good lights or great lights with AD1200 Pro. Just give the people an option, and you can shoot whatever time you like. Just saying that in the noon time you can shoot something like this. Just our choice. That's all. Glad you enjoyed my. All right, I'm going to quickly address this question. So basically, guys, it's not a one shot. Okay, it's a one shot. Yeah, it's a one shot. You can understand that as one shot. But so basically, what happened is I asked her to jump, let's say 20 centimeters, closer to the clip side. And remember, in the Photoshop, you can have move the subject tool, smart moving the subjects. Just move her a bit next to the clip side. Then you got it. So it's one shot. So basically, what you do, or you can do two shots, right? So just do one on the cliff side, just move her, a bit next to the ocean side. Safety always comes first, so don't do this in ask her to do exactly the same as it shows in the photo. Just ask her to do it where it's safe, and use your smart move the subjects tool in Photoshop. It takes about 2 minutes to do so it will be easy. All right. So also top down. You see the light is a bit harsher comparing with the first shots. That's because number one, I took off the diffuser, so the umbrella with the diffuser is even softer. Number two, that the further the subject, the umbrella is away from your model, the light bits became harsher, right? That's because I want to hide the light outside of the crop. All right, let me just move on to the next image, and I will start to address your question. Okay. So the question, just quickly show you the photos and we will discuss it later. Yeah. What is the difference between softbox and umbrella? Which one is better for portrait? There's no such thing as better, but with the umbrella I use plus a diffuser, then umbrella will be the lights. I find it's a bit softer than softbox. Softbox traditionally give you the perfect studio portrait, and so softbox works great for outdoor too. I use umbrella because if I'm going for the natural, almost like a natural light look, umbrella mimics the ambient lights better, right? It's even softer, or it's even more further spreaded. Softbox tends to be more a tiny bit more directional, still very soft, and umbrella tends to be more spreaded. So it's really personal taste. It's personal taste. And another advantage of soft umbrella, obviously, it's so easy to carry around, right? It's easier to pack. Even comparing with collapsible softbox, umbrella is still on the smaller side. Good for you. As I said, whatever makes it work for you. If V1 works for you, some people like sashimi, some people love Mexican food. I'm a big fan of Mexican food and sashimi. So it depends on your preference. You can go for whatever light you want. So Alma, I think asking for image for outdoor. So depends. If it's outdoor, do you want to use softbox? If you're the softbox guy, I would advise you to go for 300 Pro Plus. Depends on your style and how much sun you want to balance. Are you going for dramatic lights? Dramatic look. You obviously need to underexpose the ambient. You need a bigger power, right? If you go for the natural light, side, you can. I think for V1 or AD1200Pro will probably be enough, especially if you don't need a large modifier, right? Okay, so this, guys, I will start to walk through my slides. Otherwise, I wouldn't have enough time to walk through my slides, but I will address the rest of the question very, very soon. So stay tuned. I will finish this slides. I will talk about the next questions. So on the image, it's in the outdoor pool. It's called a Bronte rock pool, which is one of the nice pools on the eastern suburbs. If you guys ever come down to Down and Under in Australia or in Sydney, you guys have to go to the rock pools. So we have rock pools along the coast side. So beautiful. In the morning when the rising tide, the water just come in. It's all ocean water. It's right next to the seacoast, right? So on the low tide, just water just come off. Everybody just gotta enjoy the fresh coast and waters. And funny enough, in the morning before we start our photo shoot, two sea turtles actually got stuck in the rock pool, and actually the lifesaver actually managed to help the sea turtle to get out. So it's kind of funny story. Just thought you guys might be interested. So in the summer, you can see it's done by iPhone. The behind the BTS, that's what water looks like, right? So crystal clear on the cyan side. So basically, in the middle, you will see that it's without flash, right? You can increase the ambient a bit if you shoot in natural light. I don't think it's a big problem, but the problem is she wouldn't stand out. The highlights, the water itself will become a bit overexposed. That's not what I want in this image. What I want is sheen being brightest spots in the image. That's why this time I used extra drama. I used a silver reflector on the I think RFT18 silver reflector, so to give this image extra punch. And in this image, you can see there's an RFT19 silver reflector. You can see there is a nice squirrel around her, right? Highlights over her. That's because the light is sort of focused on her and form a natural vignette around her body, and you can see all the crispy water. So that's what silver reflector do. It's harsh light. It's very powerful, increase you about your outputs, but it also give this harsh midday look. All right. So I think Jeffrey was asking, why don't I shoot in the afternoon? This is one of the reasons. Sometimes midday image could look, it's very hard to shoot with, to be honest. But sometimes you get a unique midday look as well. Let me just quickly answer one of your questions. So the question was HS or ND filter. Why? I would say that depends on your style. HS does give you lots of convenience, but obviously with HSS you lose stops, right? If you use AD1200Pro or AD1300Pro, you're shooting outdoor images, especially with softbox, and you want a big aperture, I would advise you to consider ND filter, because sometimes, obviously, with less power, you might be want to save every output you have. So ND filter might save your output, but with HSS, if you can use it, then go for it. Go for it. It's so convenient. So when I use AD1200Pro or AD600Pro, I find it's almost, there's just under no scenarios I do need ND filter. I just go HSS all the time. But consider this: AD600Pro or AD1200Pro, the bigger lights, it's heavier, right? How heavy is ND filter? So it's up to you. Hey, it's a great question, my Harold. You need a good umbrella, and the Godox. To be honest, I broke lots of umbrella just because I was a bit lazy. I just couldn't be bothered to be honest, to carry those umbrella, because I found that outdoor carry a softbox is kind of bulky and baggy to carry them around. Go for a Godox Pro umbrella. I use this umbrella exactly like you see in the image, under 35 kilos meters of wind with no issue at all. This umbrella holds against the wind like crazy. Go for the Pro range. Go for the Pro range, and you'll be fine. As I said, there's no better solution. It's just the one works for you. There's no silver bullets works for all. If you want my look, my personal preference is umbrella. Number one, it's easier and smaller to carry around. And number two, it gives us even softer light. So a tips would be go for the Godox Pro range, because Pro umbrella has more bumps. It holds strongly against the wind. However, if you go for any umbrella on the market, on the eBay, it's just broke like this, with some wind. Yep, that's exactly what I use. Yep. Sorry, I have no idea, because I'm using Sony, and I previously used the Canon and the Nikon. I had no experience with Fuji so far, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question. But I will try to ask someone in the future, and I'll get back to you if I got an answer. Yep. So another example. Very simple and straightforward. You place the model on the shadow of umbrella, which is another advantage compared with softbox, because umbrella usually is bigger. You can easily have a 180 or 165. That's enough even for a full body. For a smaller size model, you can easily cover her on the shadow and just flash, right? So that's another advantage comparing with softbox. So right, okay. So after the getting ready, it's kind of 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. I think it's somewhere between there. We starts to go to the beach. It's still, you can see the sun is still very high. If you look at the shadow under her under her neck, and you, by looking at the edge, it's very defined. You know, it's very harsh sun. It's mostly clear with almost no clouds. That's why. Um, here's the, no, as I said, people are asking, you know, why do I need AD1200? When would I need AD300 Pro and stuff like those? This scenario is, I think, if I have AD1200 Pro, that would be handy. I'll tell you why. Number one, you see on the bottom right, BTS, she's actually paddling around in the ocean, right? Because she's keep on moving. Then obviously I need high speed sync, because with moving subjects, and you know, the current is actually very, very quick. So she's moving fast. I need to keep on shooting and she's keep on moving. There is no way she will be able to stop in the same place like on the land. So I need high speed sync just to know that she's crispy sharp. And do I need a bigger power output? Yes, because obviously for safety reasons, I stay on the land, so it's a bit easier to shoot. And she's in the water. We are about 5 meters away from each other, so you do need bigger lights, right? With AD300 Pro, can you do it? Yes. You just need to keep the subject a bit closer, or you just need to sacrifice your recycling time a bit. You still can do it, but AD1200 Pro is certainly very convenient to have. And what's AD1200 Pro for? So if you look at the image, you can see that the sun is coming from the left, right? It's highlighted on the left, but you wouldn't be able to see her abs and all the shadow details. So AD1200 Pro gives some nice feel on her shadow. It's still harsh lights from the sun, but you will see all the muscle definitions and details, and it kind of soften it a bit by decrease the contrast of the muscle and the dress. And you see more details in her, you know, shadow area, such as under the neck or the cheek. I hope that makes sense, guys. All right, keep on dropping the questions. I will try to answer them as soon as possible. Yep. All right. Now, no worries. Glad it helps. Yep. Okay. So, guys, keep on asking questions. If you have any, I will try to answer them in the next slide. So if you like this, it's a beautiful. It's still eastern suburbs, beautiful crispy water, and by look at the water, you can pretty much tell, right? It's midday sun. That's why the water is crystal clear. If you shoot in the oval, I think mentioned by Jeffrey, right? In the oval, I'm not too sure. Even sunset, the lights became softer and nice and traditional as what photographers enjoy. But the water wouldn't look crystal crispy and wouldn't look so transparent, if that makes sense. That's why for snorkeling or diving, we always go for the noon time, so the water looks nicer. That's one of the reasons. And you can see it's pretty far away from the subjects, right? You guys can tell it's very far away from the subjects, but we still can flash her so that her you know, all the muscle and the shadow details on the board is actually being nicely lit. So I'm not saying everybody. I certainly do not think AD1200 Pro is for everyone. Like, if you guys are running and a gun, then no. The light itself, it's 8.9 kilograms. And thanks, Mike. Thank you. It's 8.9 kilograms, and plus umbrella plus light stand, you probably look at 11 kilograms. Right? Are you physically strong enough to carry the lights? Especially lots of places I go, it needs like lots of hiking, rock climbing. I certainly wouldn't think it's an option for everyone. Because I take out AD1200 Pro simply because I know I need a power and I do have an assistant. If you're a run gun user with no softbox, go for AD200 Pro or V1 even. If you If you do like use softbox, but it's all by yourself, then go for 8300 Pro, right? If you do have a mic to carry lights with you, and you need a bit more power, then consider 8600 Pro or 8400 Pro. Yeah, whatever works for you. Like I said, I just got a new Nikon, and I mainly take portraits. Would 300 Pro enough for most situations? Troy, hi Troy. I speaking from personal experience, I use 8300 Pro more often, especially if I'm not shooting under midday sun, like mentioned by Jeffrey. If you're shooting the Avo, and you're shooting in the golden hours, or you're shooting a cityscape, or with less contrast, then 8300 Pro is perfect. It's so. Let me just show you my talking about 8300 Pro. Look at this quickly, very quickly. Yeah. Look at the size. This is 8300 Pro, and this is iPhone, my iPhone 7 Plus. So it gives you some sort of. So you see, it's slightly bigger than iPhone 7 Plus. Make sense? It's so easy. It's so easy to carry around. I would say whatever the lights you are willing to burn with you, that's the right lights. So this is a light. If I'm all by myself, what I do, I have two Sony cameras, mirrorless cameras, in my Peak Design, the mirrorless bag. So it's a small bag, and I can easily pack two 8300 Pro in my bag. If you check my my 8300 Pro video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So 8300 Pro is a great light. I think you definitely should get one, especially if you like to take portraits with soft boxes, right? Let me just change it to next slide, and I can address all the other questions. What kind of brand or type of flash booms for locations would you suggest, like the one at the pictures? I personally just use Godox light stands. I can't remember. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember the exact model number. But you can go for Godox Pro range if you want the lights to be really strong and robust to hold against the crazy wind. Otherwise, just whatever light stand works for you. On the safer side, I use Godox light stand because Australian dealer KO, they from time to time, I think they are currently doing if you buy the lights, you get a light stand sort of package deal, so which makes life a bit easier for me. That's why I get a Godox light stand. But you can go for whatever works for you. Go for your local dealer and check it out. No worries, mate. Glad I can help. And another reason to use the umbrella, right? So you can, because umbrella is usually bigger than softbox, so you can easily cover. You can see in the image. You can easily cover her whole body under the shadow. You see the umbrella is not pointing towards her. The reason is that I have lots of power to waste. So even feathering light would be enough to lit her up, and this way has a nicer fall off from her upper body to her leg. Does it make sense? So her leg wouldn't be as bright as her upper body. That's just my personal preference. Some people like it, some people dislike it, but just you guys know, with feathering light, you have that option. Another big reason is that I do want to make sure she's under shadow, so there's no harsh light from the sun to kiss over her body. That way I have a good foundation to start with. Does it make sense? That's why I particularly put the umbrella that way, so it fully blocks the sun. She's under complete shadow. That's what you see in the image. And this is crazy. I only have to use, listen to this, I'm on high-speed sync with about, I think, 2000 a second, something like that. I only need to use a quarter output. I only have to use a quarter output. That's how crazy it is. So Troy, if you like this kind of image, in my city, which is Bandai, um, 8300 Pro will be powerful enough to achieve this shot. Isn't this crazy? Right. I hope that answer give you sort of um, an idea what 8300 Pro is capable of doing. Yeah. And so, I'm not a typical harsh light guy in a sense, right? Most of my lights are very soft. Just give you guys an idea. If you have a light shooting within the same direction as sun, that sort of emphasizes uh, sun look, but it's almost give her this very contrasting and skin tan burning sort of look. But I wouldn't use this kind of harsh lights on adding people with adding seniors. Doesn't make sense. Like me myself, I would certainly prefer a soft light on myself. But with athletes or model, harsh light works and works like a charm. So go crazy, guys. I'm just offering lots of options here. You see, I'm showing you what the umbrella looks like. I'm showing you what the standard reflector looks like, showing you what the silver reflector looks like, showing you what's the softbox or even bare bulb looks like. So you guys have a rough idea before you go ahead and choose which light and light setup you want to go for. And you know that which modifier accessory or which lights to buy. But don't take my words for it. Try that yourself and let me know in the comments. Another advantage you could potentially be doing is what's softer than a reflective umbrella with diffusion. That's double diffusion. If you look at the bottom right corner, you will see that there's a screen, right? Above that screen, that's a boom arm with a 1.8 umbrella, with slightly bigger. You see, I'm a big fan of umbrella. Thanks to Rob Gatto, who introduced me to the umbrella system. Now that I can't live without it. And with a reflective umbrella with white interior, with some diffusion, right? The light's just coming right above. This mimics the perfect overcast sun. You see, the sun comes from above. You know why? That's the best light to define her athlete's body, and aka the abs. You see, she has crazy abs. But in flat light, anything will look flat. So a contrast light, a soft light right from above will be great for her skin as well as the abs. So that's it. So with the closing, I'm just going green against green background. So it's a nice monochrome or analogous color palettes. That's what actually works. Do you need AD1200 Pro for this? No. Like Troy asked, is 8300 Pro capable of doing this kind of shots? Yes, it does. Simply because you don't need the full power in every time, isn't it? 8300 Pro will be good enough for this kind of shots. Oh, yep. Sorry. Stephen was like, can you put the slides back to the full screen, please? Yes. I'm so sorry. I forgot to put it back. Hi, Guang. Thank you for watching one of my Yip Man movie. Before I'm making the Yip Man 5, I'll be staying Godoc's channel, so stay tuned. I'm just kidding, but thanks for watching. How easy is to focus the flash on the model? It's quite easy, mate. Like in the daytime, your camera should be able to handle it. In the evening time, with 8300 Pro, they have about, for example, they have 12 watts of modeling lamp. With the 801200 Pro, they have crazy 40 watts of modeling lamp. It works like a torch. You will always be in focus, mate. You'll always be in focus. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. Um, it's a good question. I know that lots of people have different opinion on this. Um, I personally use rechargeable batteries. Number one, I don't know. It's a I think OCD things. I like to save environment. I don't want to waste battery. I just feel guilty. Doesn't make sense. If I can use recycling things, I will try to stay with recycling things. Um, I had lots of hot shoe flash before. I was a strobist in a sense. So with they each single hot shoe flash use 4 AA batteries. So I have about 50 AA, 60 AA battery in my house. They are all rechargeable. I just use them. Do they misfire? In my personal experience, I no. I use Sanyong Antelope, if that helps. But some people claim, but it always looks like one bar in your it always makes looks like one bar in your X Pro or X2T, but it never affects any of my cause any misfiring issue. It just looks kind of funny. If you can bear it, then go for the rechargeable. If you find it's misfiring and it's kind of annoying, it's a thing for you. It's a issue for you. Then just go for the normal one. Just go for the normal battery. Uh, Officially, the trigger they are not designed for rechargeable battery. That's it. That's it. All right. No further questions. Let's keep on going. Cool. So that's the thing. If you look at this image, you will notice that this is certainly something can be done by every single light. You can do that with 8300 Pro. You can do that with 8600 Pro. You can do that with 1200 Pro. The difference is what? Recycling time. Obviously, with 1200 Pro, because it's low power output, I think it's 1 out of 16, so 1 out of 32. You can have you can go high. You can shoot burst, right? You can shoot burst in your Sony, like 10 images per second, and that will do. However, if you use 8300 Pro or 8600 Pro, then that will be an issue, because not so much as an issue, but your efficiency will come down because recycling time would be as fast as AD1200 Pro. But would you care? Are you shooting a commercial? Are you have to get things done within 10 minutes? Or you can have a bit more wiggle zone, ask her to jump again and again and again, right? If you can have luxury to do it, or it's not so much as commercial shots, it's just portrait shots. You guys have the whole afternoon doing this kind of shots, then no worries. 8300 Pro will do that too. Yeah, makes sense. Another thing is that you can have a softbox. This is done by a stripe box, right? 30 times 160 stripe box with grade for the editorial look. So we have done the natural light side. So here I thought it's a bit editorial look side. And if you guys see on the bottom right corner, you guys can see there's a stripe box. Yeah, that's the Godox 30 times 160 stripe box with grade on. Right, we give her some nice split light, so nicely define the edges on her muzzle. That's what it looks like. Oh, 35 times 160. I'm sorry. And here's another close up. You can see, obviously, I'm using high-speed sync with she's running. There's no way I can stay under like 1 out of 200 seconds per per shots, right? You have to use high-speed sync. So ND filter that's not working these days. I think there was another gentleman asked me about ND filter. Oh, this is where ND filter would not work. She will be blurred. But with high-speed sync, she will be perfect sharp. So I would say that high-speed sync And ND filter, if it's still portrait, like she's sitting there, it's more on the posing side, then that's fine. You can use ND filter or high speed sync, whatever you like. But if she's running motion like sports, she's keep on moving in the car, then you have to use high speed sync. Yep. Questions? Now, here's another look, right? Remember I talked about flat light does not help you to define the muscles and definitions. If you look at the mid image with no flash, you see it's very flat image, isn't it? And on the left, there will be two backlit from AD1200Pro with color gel to define the colors, and there will be top lights with AD300Pro to define her face. That's it. So this is a shot that I've recently did. Earlier. It's exactly in the same date as the rock pool. It's just with Australian weather. Sometimes it's cloudy. Sometimes it's the wind starts to blowing. It's all rising and shine. It's midday, crispy water. You see what I'm talking about with the water, right? With cloudy day or a blue hour or even sunset, the water will look a bit muddy. It's not crispy clear. That's what happens on a cloudy day too. With AD1200Pro with large modifiers, you can have a luxury with a distance away from your subjects. It's not going to not only lead her, but also kind of freeze the water to be crispy sharp. And do you need high speed sync? Yes, because I want to stay on the side of 1.4, and I just don't have time to put on an ND filter. And short flash duration actually helps to freeze those waters. I wish I could zoom in a bit to show you guys the water. It just looks so yummy. And on the in the mid image, you can see that without flash, what she looks like. So you know where the light falls on her bodies, and as well as the stairs, as well as the water. All right. Let me just quickly answer a few questions. So flash duration is that, let's say, if flash duration depends on the power output, usually in Godot system, if it's 1 out of 128 with a smaller power output, the short flash duration can be somewhere, it's like 1 out of 10,000 seconds, right? So the flash only flash in that 1 of 10,000 seconds. So not so much important for portrait photography, but for product photography, if you want to freeze the water, or even night photography, you don't need high speed sync to freeze the people, because simply there's no natural light, right? People jump, you just have a short flash duration that frees the people. And power is totally different, right? Short flash duration is usually used to freeze the subjects with less or no natural light. Power output is just basically how big the power is. Yep. Jeffrey, do I stop at each shot? Certainly no. And make sure you have got the right light. You just need to, especially with HSS. You're certainly a big fan of HSS. Let me just quickly address this for you. Take this image as example. I will determine what my ambient look like. Ambient determines how dramatic the image is, right? If you want a natural looking image, go for 0 EV, right? If you want to be more dramatic, underexpose the ambient a bit so it looks more dramatic. After you determine your ambient lights, add in your flash. Simple as it is. Because you determine your ambient, your exposure, your aperture, everything is fixed. All you have to do is turn on your flash and make sure it flashes. Right? Obviously, it depends. Depends on the model of your lights, but in the image like this, 1/8 or 1/16 with AD1200 Pro, it's certainly a good spot to start with. So that's where I use. You certainly don't check that with HSS unless you change your camera settings, right? Determine your camera setting, make sure it's the same through the entire photo shoots with menu. Make sure, make sure you use menu. Just don't use don't let camera decide what's best for you. You decide for yourself, right? Use menu, and then adding flash. So simple. Just do one thing at a time. Do one thing at a time. Yeah, I hope it helps. It's just personal tastes. I like for me, I think one of the reasons I forgot to tell you is I like paddling. The paddleboard you saw, that's mine. I'm actually a big fan of paddleboarding. In this summer, obviously, I was so busy with wedding and pre-weddings. And from this summer, I actually got a more wiggle zone due to lockdown time. So I go out and snorkeling and paddling a lot. I find it just when the midday water, it's crystal clear with a blue and cyan cast, almost like Tiffany blue. When I look at the water, it gives me a sense of zen. I find inner peace by simply looking at the water. I'm not sure, but obviously it's subjective and everybody feels different. That's why sometimes I just subconsciously I want to give a go with shooting the midday. But it's totally personal choice. I'm just saying that if you want to go for midday photo shoots, there's an option for you. Here you go. All right, let me just quickly address those questions. So basically, like I said, if you want a more dramatic shots, underexpose your ambient a bit, like me. That's a mid image, and you can see her abs or her muscles. It's obviously under shadow. It's not so good. So I just put a right nice umbrella here. Just use a feathering light. The light is actually, if you look at the next image, the light is obviously from the left, which is where the sun is. It's in the morning, early, right? I just use the umbrella as a field light. Do you need this for 80? Do you have to use AD1200 Pro for this? No. 8300 will be enough for a field light. So when you guys ask me this question, which light you want to use, I would say that if you on a cloudy day like this, and you don't shoot in the midday, you can get away with 8300 Pro or even 8200 Pro with a big umbrella, which is the softest lights you can ever hoping for. But if you want to do the dramatic shots like in the midday with softbox, then you probably need to go from 8600 Pro and above, right? Or 8300 Pro with ND filter, and be very careful, be very articulate with your light output, because sometimes you do need a full output with 8300 Pro. I hope that makes sense, guys. All right, questions. How do you communicate with your assistant when you're far away, like pigs, and she steps out of the sea? Like sometimes, yes, we basically, if I'm not in the water, I would just use earphone and I'll put another mobile next to her somewhere, hiding the rock. Just put it on speaker. Right? And if she's in the water, there's no way. You just shout. You just scream like a Tarzan. Oh, things close. Right? And you just don't speak for the rest of the week. You just do that manually. Does it make sense? But at least you don't drop your phone into the water. That's the thing, right? If I lost my phone in the water, my wife is so going to kill me and not replace me with another phone. I've lost mine. Jeff was like, do you know your lighting recipes at certain distance of power? No, I am not very technical, to be honest. I just, like you said, I just turn the power and after you've been shooting outdoor for a while, you sort of know your formula, solar formula. I would say that if you don't have a formula, start with a quarter power. If it's not bright enough, increase the power output. If it's too bright, decrease your power. But make sure you fix your ambient. Don't try to adjust the ambient and the flash at the same time. Fix your ambient, then adding flash. Do one thing at a time. Resolve one issue at a time. If you truly think about this, I think a light meter would help in this case, Jeffrey. If you worry about measuring power output, especially during outdoor on hedge, and you do use high speed sync, that will be what was it? That will be D5D. That will be D5. Sorry, 858. Let me check it out. Just give me a sec. That'll be Seconic. That'll be Seconic 858D. So it's a new light meter. It actually works with. It's actually compatible with Godox under high-speed sync mode. I think if you worry about too much about your exposure, or you think about you want to nail the exposure just by testing it, I think it will help. It will help. I'm not. I don't take light meters with me all the time, to be honest. But I think maybe Seconic will come handy in your case. How much light power is necessary to overpower bright day sunlight? It's a very general question. If you look at my image in this one, 150 watts will be enough. Certainly in the midday, I think you need 600 watts above. 600 watts above to just give you guys some direction. I have a couple of midday sun coming up, so I will explain the power, so you have a bit sort of more direct sort of sense out of it. All right. So this is almost like you can get away with AD1200Pro with half power, or somewhere between half power and a quarter power. And this too. So here, remember the rock pool we mentioned? That's the rock pool. I get her to step in the water, and you can see on the bottom right corner, it's very cloudy, and her face is under shadow. So I decided to bring in some window lights from the left, so we can lit up her face, as well as the bone structure. I purposely asked her to turn towards the lights, so her her nose and this T areas is on the highlights like me, and the cheek is under shadow. So I lit her with a short light, in a sense. Does it make sense? And the umbrella flash does spill into the water. That kind of makes the water more crispier. So I quite enjoy. You can almost see the water is transparent, which makes the water look so calm and tasty. That's my personal taste. Michelle, like indirect parabolic to indirect light, do you have experience? I do personally. I do not. It's indirect light from umbrella, as you can see in the middle image. They don't have a parabolic reflective parabolic umbrella in a sense, but you know what, Godox produce hundreds of new products every single year, so I'm very curious too. If I have one in my hand, I'll let you know. Stay tuned. Not so far, but stay tuned. Hi, Michael. You know what? 360 is a great light. Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. So does flash duration stay the same when you turn on HSS? Every time, let's say this, flash duration will be determined by multiple factors. Number one is your power output. Number two is your shutter speed. So if you change your shutter speed in HSS mode, your flash duration might be affected, and mainly your flash duration would definitely be affected by the power. So let's say, for example, I can't remember which light is which. Usually under 1/128, it's 1/10,000 seconds, right? And if it's full power, it's probably just 1/200 or 1/250 seconds, right? If it's full power and you use high speed sync, then obviously you lose a bit of power, and that's why. So here we just want to show you guys how I'm playing around, how I am playing around with the lights, directions on the left image. It's the light is actually from the right. The light, if you look at the the BTS from the top, the light is actually from the right to give a morning vibe. Does it make sense? Morning vibe. So it's almost like a rising and shine, right? The morning, there's a patch of sun coming from the right, shining her body. So that's more traditional window portrait look in a sense. And also I find that light actually helps define her muscle and abs in a sense. On the right, on another hand, exactly in same location, I place the lights right above her. So the light is actually coming from above, right? With edge of light feathered. So her face and the bust, her bust looks bigger because it's highlights, and her face is the brightest spots because when light falls, that hits her face first, and her belly area is under shadow, right? It's not so much for athletes, but if I'm shooting someone just normal bikini shots, I think that one would work even better. Just to guys have options, says that with a big umbrella, with AD1200Pro, you can shoot from all different directions. There is no silver bullet works for all. It's just a particular lighting style works for your image or works for your taste, right? On the right, it's more feminine look in a sense. On the left, it's more athletes, like muscle, skinny look. Which one do you prefer? It's totally up to you. Hi, Sean. Good to see you, mate. How are ya? All right. Now, here's something that, talk about AD1200. There's something unique that can only be done there. It's a midday. But in the winter, when we do photo shoots, lots of time we find Australian sun in Sydney is on the northern sort of sides. It's not totally overhead. It's very hard to find overhead lights. That's why we just bring your own sun. Yeah, I like that rock. I like the climbing. I like that sports. Quite often when we shoot with hot shoe flash or small, hot shoe flash or strobes, we need to, let's say, shoot for the lights, right? Shoot for the lights, which means you have to compromise your backdrop, your composition with ambient light, because sunlight is so powerful. With small strobe, you can use as a field light, but you can never come back sunlight, right? But with AD1200Pro, you can go for the backdrop. In a sense, you can go for what's the nicest composition, what's the most striking composition you have, and then what do? Just adding a light, right? In this case, I want the sun, overhead sun, kiss on her body to define the muscle. Also, overhead sun would help to create this texture on the cliff, right? So I say, why don't we just put a sun there? Basically, what I do in the mid image, you can see there's AD1200Pro there. I just retouch out the lights, light stand, and keep the lights there. and that's the sun, midday sun you look. So it's artificial sun created by AD1200 Pro. That's something unique with bigger lights, powerful enough to do. I hope that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. Thank you, Sean. Glad you enjoy it. I love you. I love your 600 Pro talk as well. I find it's very inspirational, guys. If you guys don't know Sean yet, check out the Godox YouTube or Facebook channel. You'll see the talk I did with him 2 weeks ago. He's a fantastic Detroit senior photographer that create lots of very dramatic and powerful images with AD600 Pro and AD300 Pro. Certainly check his work out because his style is very, very unique. All right. That's another look. That's another look. You guys will notice that comparing with previous, guys, if you guys pay attention, you see that this her skin is harsh light, right? You see the edge. Do you see the highlights, shadow areas, edge transitions? It's the edge is very defined on her butt. But here, you see the light is softer, right? And defines the edge on her back. The shadow highlights edge on her back. It has a nice transition, right? So that's why we call the light is softer and has this nice fall off. You still see her the muscle definitions, especially on her back, and of course with the lights from the side, it helps to define the shapes of her butt as well. We have this beauty look mix with a traditional sort of bodybuilding sort of harsh lights. Certainly because she's a female, she's amazing athlete, but she's a beautiful girl as well. How did I do it? It's the same scenario. The whole rock is lit by AD1200 Pro. Certainly, you need a bigger, powerful lights to lit up the area. And another reason is that I put a softbox, right? A softbox will cause you will lose a bit stop of power by a softbox. I hope that makes sense. And then I put a grid. With a grid, you lose a bit, about half a stop, right? So you lose a stop and a half. Can you do this with AD300 Pro? Yes. You can use AD300 Pro with a long reflector, which increase about stop, which will lead the whole area as well. But certainly, AD1200 Pro is a luxury to have because you can have those softbox with grid, has a beautiful kiss of lights, this nice soft lights, especially for a girl, right? That makes sense. When using color mode, what are you losing? I find the Godox lights, the color white balance, it's very stable, especially with AD series. Lately, I've been using, so I personally never use color mode that much. I only use color mode when I'm doing product photography indoor. With outdoor, no. What I'm losing is that I believe with color mode you cannot use high speed sync, which obviously I prefer. If there's a trade-off, I'll stay with high speed sync. That's my personal preference. Austin was asking, is she single? Why don't you ask her yourself? You can certainly follow me on my Instagram, which is the Instagram handle below, and from there you can follow her and maybe DM her message and ask her yourself. So that's just you guys might be interested. That's a 90 centimeters softbox with grade, right? And in case you guys ask, this is a composite shots, and he is not jumping off the cliff. He is jumping on the cliff. Does it make sense? I just use Photoshop to copy paste, to cut and pasting somewhere else, just out of safety. But it's kind of a nice image to give a go. to give a go, right? And also, you notice you need high-speed sync in this case, which it makes it a bit harder for AD1300 Pro to do, because high-speed sync with a powerful output with bare bulb, yeah. But do you do this kind of shots every day? If no, maybe the lights you are willing to carry around with you will be the best lights. As I said, it's just a luxury to have, but is that necessary? Certainly, I personally don't think so. But would be really nice, fun to have an AD1200 Pro somewhere in your studio. Personal thoughts. Okay. Another shots. Jumping off the cliff with a beauty dish. You can see how defined her back is, how crazy her back is, right? With a beauty dish. So beauty dish is a great way of defining the muscles. Yeah. Another shot with beauty dish. You can certainly can you do this? With AD1300 Pro and retouch out the person who use AD1300 Pro. Your lighting assistant or light stand. Yes, but would that be better with AD1200 Pro? Yes. The reason is, you see, there is a kiss of lights on the cliff area, right? So would be nice to have to AD1200 Pro to lead her from distance away, so that number one, it saves your Photoshop work. You don't have to retouch out anything. You just have to Lightroom color correct it, off you go. Number two, it will form some ambient light on the cliff area. It would be nice to make it more, have a better sense of reality, rather than hold the lights really close to your project. Sometimes I find that makes your subject looks more like cut and pasted on the background, right? So yeah, but either way would work. Depends on you. Morning, rising and shine. Hey Ash. So Ash is amazing wedding photographer based in Melbourne, Australia. Certainly follow her. Certainly follow her Instagram for more images. If you guys are based in Melbourne, she has a workshop. I'm not sure. I think it's full, but never hurts to ask. She has a workshop coming up next Wednesday. So DM her, in the Instagram, see if there is any spots left. It's a fantastic venue. I saw the BTS image already, so it's gonna be a great lighting experience if you guys are based in Melbourne. And with the food was fantastic. The food is fantastic. It's beautiful food there, so you guys will have a great time hanging out. If you are based in Melbourne, drop her a message. Right, let me just quickly and show you guys what a beauty dish. This is a beauty dish with a grate. Certainly, it's from distance away for obvious reason. I can't ask my assistant go any closer, and you can see that with AD1200 Pro, this is how it leads up. As for Troy, AD1300 Pro would do the same job, so no worries, because it's a blue hour. So yeah. Another shots. The slightly later of the time, you can see the morning and sun is already rised, and she's climbing the rope. The same shots, just different angle with ultra wide angle lens to give a nice blue backscape with some building in the Bandai areas, so that show she's a personal trainer, so to show how where she usually do her exercise and train people, hopefully attract more Instagram followers and her potential clients in the eastern suburb areas. Paul Richardson was asking, how do you gel your AD1200 Pro? It's so easy, Mai. There is an AKR1, right? Godox. Let me just put in your AK. So basically what happens is that with with the AD1200Pro, I put on the round head, Godox R1 round head. Make sure you use round head. Then everything else seats just come with AKR1. It comes with a grade, it comes with a dome, comes with lots of color gels. You just put it, it's magnetic. Just put a color gel on, and that's it. And saves you so much time. And yeah, life's good from there. So it's so easy, mate. Just check out Godox R1 and AKR1 kit out. And that'd be fine. I think another thing we can potentially do is the outdoor studio. I'm not too sure about you guys, but in Sydney, the real estate price is pretty expensive, and we have a very busy studio. We have, two clients, sometimes more than two clients, or at least one client every single day. So they do makeup there. As you know, I do lots of elopement sessions as well as engagement pre-wedding sessions. Our clients do makeup in our studio. So I find that sometimes logistic-wise, it's very hard to manage. Multiple shots, multiple photo shoots in studio, and that's why AD1200Pro comes handy, because with AD1200Pro, even with large modifier through the screen, you can still kill the ambient easily, right? Like in this image, right? So you can have outdoor studio anywhere you feel like. You can have outdoor studio in a balcony, in the rooftop, in a car park even, or in your backyard. Wherever you like, wherever the light goes, you can create. You don't have to, whether have a studio or not should not be an obstacle for you to create a studio shots. Just get a bigger lights. That's all. If you don't own AD1200Pro, you can rent or borrow that from your mates, right? So just to show you, let me quickly answer the question. Great, thank you. What about the AD1200? 1200 is Bowen mount, so you can use all your traditional Bowen mount modifiers with it. AKR1 only fits Godox round head, such as Godox V1 or AD1200Pro with round head. Hey, mate. Hey, Cos. How are you, mate? There is some with this image. There is a YouTube. You can go and watch it whenever you like. With some of those, it's not. This is the first time I think I'm showing that on the social media. So, but there is a video under editing, and it will coming up soon. So pretty much all the images you see here will be under video, and I'm going to put on the YouTube channel, Godox YouTube channel. So stay tuned, and certainly follow my social media. I will release some of the BTS there as well. All right, cool. So follow Aries Tao. Here's I don't think lots of people had to use a ring flash before, so I'm just going to give you guys a general idea about the ring flash. Yeah, general idea about a ring flash. So basically, with a ring flash, it has this nice feel lights of her body, right? Of her body, and it gives you this very punchy look, but yet very soft. The catch light is amazing, right? If you look at that, it's a catch light. So no lights, and with a ring flash, look how amazing it is. And because ring flash is so soft and even in falling on her body, so you don't need there's not much retouching work left, because all the shadows has been properly filled up. So it's if you like the kind of, let's say, this kind of look, then ring flash, it's certainly another option. You wouldn't use it so frequently like softbox, like every day you use softbox or umbrella, but ring flash will certainly be a nice, has its own way of unique look in a sense. And you can shoot at the same axis as your camera, as you see that in this image, right? I put my camera inside the hole of the ring flash. That's where how you get this kind of look. And double exposure in camera, like that, right? So you can use a double exposure. Certainly will be fun way to do. Certainly will be a fun way to do. And if you want to, you can use composite, right? Those are the water drops I've been dropping, and I shoot her body, Photoshop her in the water because it's all black background. It's very easy to do, and that's it, right? That's it. So guys, again, good morning to everyone on Saturday. Thank you guys for watching. If there's no, I can take a few further questions if you guys do have any. Otherwise, you can drop me a message on the Instagram. I will try to, when you think of any questions, I will certainly answer them in the PM message. Otherwise, stay tuned. I have an amazing talk with Ashley K next Friday morning. Godox will publish a poster later. So she's an amazing wedding photographer based in Melbourne, Australia. If you guys have any questions, you can certainly ask questions next week. Especially you are interested into the quick setup, like no assistant at all. She's famous for knowing no assistant at all and deliver those amazing shots with AD1200Pro and AD1300Pro. So stay tuned. Cool. If there's no further question, thank you guys, everyone. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Sean. I will catch with you guys next week. Have a nice weekend. Love you all. Bye.